Hi folks, in this short video clip, I want to bring something that happens in the 3D experiences linear multi-instantiation icon to your attention. Uh, but before I actually go through the process, I want to remind you, why is this linear multi-instantiation functionality very useful? And it's inherited obviously from CATIA, because the CAD package within the 3D Experience platform, the one that I make these tutorials on, uh, is actually CATIA V5 slash, actually it's V6. Okay, so let me do an example for you. Before I go through this whole shebang, I'll do an example. So let me go here and I'll start with an assembly. Okay, right there, and insert in this thing. So you put the cursor here, right click, insert a 3D part. Okay, so notice that the 3D part has been created and there is a shape automatically buried in it. If you double click on the shape, just to show you what the idea is, I'm going to make just a shape here, for example, a rectangle, and then exit, and then path. Now, if you go all the way to the top level assembly and click on this 3D physical, left click, single left click on this, notice that this context menu pops up, and right here there is something called linear multi-instantiation. Okay, so let me click on it, and what it does, it makes 3 copies in the direction that I have selected previously, or if I want to make 4, it's very useful. When you're done, you go and just let it go. I can do this thing for the other guy too. For example, I can select this. Again, linear multi-instantiation. In some other direction, for example, I can select this direction. Okay. And the number I chose, well, let's say we say 3. Okay, there we go. So you can see it's actually very useful. Now, let me go back to my slides. So here's what happened. So I just showed you that I created an assembly, inserted a 3D part, and I made a shape that's really not necessary, but I made a shape. And then when you go to top level assembly and select left click once this line, 3D shape basically, you get the option of doing linear multi-instantiation. It's very useful. That's what I showed you. But what happens sometimes, you do exactly the same thing, except that you do not get this icon here. So the question is, what happened? Okay. So notice that in this situation, you get the linear multi-instantiation icon there. But in this situation, I do exactly, it looks like I did exactly the same thing, but I don't get that functionality. Okay? And I'll show you what happened among other things that potentially could have caused this thing, what you could have done, and you didn't notice it. So what happened to the cycle? Now, it has to do with how you selected this line. So let me actually, there is more to it, but I want to go back to the problem that I did for you, right there. So let me go ahead and again, let me just cancel that. Do it again. So let's do it again. So do a assembly design, right click, insert 3D shape. Okay. Notice that I'm at the top level assembly. I'm not even making anything, but if you just select this, it gives you the option right there. So that's okay. So let me show you when is it that you don't get that. To show you that, I will actually go ahead and create another assembly right there. Put the cursor on it, insert 3D part, Okay, just like before. Except that when I go and put the cursor here, instead of left click, you see that? Left click, it gives you what I had before. I'm going to left double click. Notice what happens when I left double click? That guy dims out. This guy dimmed out. And it's no good anymore because if you go all the way to the top and select this, it won't get you that icon. So here's what happened. We already showed you. But when you left double click on this, that becomes dim. And when this becomes dim, you can no longer use this multi-instantiation. It just disappears in this problem that you're doing, in this file that you're doing, of course, until you insert another assembly and you go through the shebang. Okay? So let me go ahead and show you one more time. This is the documentation on linear multi-instantiation, which unfortunately is not very detailed. So let's go ahead and do it again. Go back there. Let me close both of these. So let's start with the assembly design. Let me insert the 3D part without making anything. Now notice that if I go and double click on this thing, if I single click, no problem. I get the icon, linear multi-instantiation icon, the second one there on the left in the above contextual menu. But if I double click, this becomes dim, gone. No longer, if I go to the top and I select this, you have access to that linear multi-instantiation. So let me start with another one. Let me start with another assembly right there. Insert 3D part. Okay. Now notice that I didn't left double click. If I select this thing, I get the option here. Then you can make as many as you want in the direction that you want, whatever it is. So basically, this one, notice that did not let me do that. This one, it did not let me do that. But this fellow, I did not left double click on it. I just select it and you have the option. Okay. If I, for example, left double click on this, it's going to be gone after that. See that? It's dim and you no longer have access to that uh, linear multi-instantiation. So, I mean, this is nothing deep. It's just that I didn't expect it to be like that. If you left double click on this, that becomes dim, and from that point on, you don't have access to this icon. All right, folks, good luck.